Hello friends, this is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today's video is a little controversial. Now, a week ago, I created a video that talked about all the things that I'm excited for, and one of the things that I was talking about was this open world Star Wars video game that it was being produced by EA Vancouver, but it had been started by Visceral, and it had kind of gone through a few different iterations. And recently it was released that they're canceling it, right? It's no longer on the docket, right? They didn't officially come out and be like, it's done and we're never going to see this game. We'll see it in one form or another. They said that EA Vancouver's still making video games. They're still doing stuff. They're very proud of the work they're doing, whatever, right? It was a very political statement, and that's fine, but it didn't tell us anything. It seems like my entire YouTube feed has been like nothing but people raving about this, right? And people like, pull EA's license. Now, EA has canceled an open world game which could have been awesome. This is not the first game that they've canceled. This is not the first Star Wars game that I personally was excited to play. I cannot tell you how stoked I was when I first saw the footage of Star Wars 1313. That looked amazing. It looked so freaking cool. And, you know, they're like, no, it's not the Boba Fett story. And it's nothing to do with Boba Fett. I mean, it was the Boba Fett story, right? I mean, maybe I was just reading into like early imaging or early marketing or whatever. But, it was the Boba Fett story. We all know it would have been the Boba Fett story. And it would have been freaking amazing. Now, the cool thing about 1313 is it sounds like Jon Favreau has used a lot of that as his source material, which I'm excited for. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work out, but I think Jon Favreau is going to do a great job. Very excited about that. It also came out recently that KOTOR 3 kind of has been tinkered around with, but no one wants to make it. And I say no one, they're not going to make it. And I was disappointed to read that KOTOR 3 has been kind of kept in the back, kind of saying, hey, no, we're not going to deal with you yet. That was disappointing. Now, the last game that I was really excited for was Star Wars Rivals. Now, this was like the Fortnite for Star Wars, and it was canceled before launch. I actually had a notice in my games account that was like, hey, let me know when information about this launches. And on the day that they canceled it, they're like, hey, you can download it now, but you can't actually download the game client because something's broken and we're not going to launch it. And I was like super disappointed. I think it was a Mobile Gamer who had done some footage of it, and I really wanted to play it. It looked really cool, but they didn't jump into it. They didn't do anything with it, and they canceled it before it even launched, and that was frustrating. I think there are a few ways that EA can save face, and I have some ideas that I think will help the game company. If not the game company, then, Star Wars games in general as a whole, right? And I want to present those to you guys today. But here's the thing. There's a word I'm going to use, and I want to explain myself before people start freaking out, right? Star Wars needs to diversify. They need diversity. Now don't jump down my throat yet. Just look at this picture. Okay, what do you see? In the top, under Lucasfilm, under LucasArts, we had all of these games created within a 6-year period. And then you have EA. Now, I will say that here they're also leaving out like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, which is an EA title, and there might be one other that I might be missing. But you have 3 versus 20 games. 18 games. You have 3 versus 18 games. Now, what's the main difference here? And I want to break this image down, right? I came up and we came up with 5 things that we think, and I specifically think that EA and Star Wars games should do to address the whole gaming issue, all right? Now, this is where diversity comes in. And again, guys, don't jump down my throat until you've reached. And I say diversity, really what I mean is diversify. They need to diversify. Because again, if you look at this image, right, what do you see? You see action adventure games, you see role-playing games, you see first-person shooters, you see flight simulators and puzzle games. You see a lot of different things. But then if you look at EA, what do you see? You see a first-person shooter. Battlefront 1 was just a first-person shooter, right? And once Battlefront 2 came out, like there was no reason to even go back and replay Battlefront 1. Battlefront 2 came out. It had first-person shooter component. It was pretty much that. It had a flight simulator component, and that's fine. But it was an action-adventure game, with the majority of it being that role, that first-person shooter, that massive PvP, right? That's fine. Now, whether you like Battlefront 2 or not, I do like the changes that they've made to it. I've been playing it a lot more lately than I had in the past. I bought it, I played the campaign, which was like 2 minutes, and I moved on. Now that they've made a lot of these changes, I'm fine with it, and I like it a lot more. But here's the thing. What they had then was diversity. They had different types of games. They weren't trying to shoehorn fans and say, okay, you like the flight simulator aspect? Great, we're going to throw that into this one area of the game that'll use it a lot. That's fine. They had flight simulators all to itself. They had pod racing. They had building stuff. They had empire creation. They had a lot of different types of games out there. Instead of one game with different modes, they had a lot of different games that focused on one mode, that focused on one area that was solid. And that's what I think they need to do again. They need to go back and simplify. But simplify the game type by giving us different types of games in general. Don't try to fit everything into one game. Make different games, right? I've come up with a few. You guys, fight me on this if you want. Think Street Fighter meets the gore of Mortal Kombat, but in space. That would be awesome. All right, number 2. A pod racing game where like Forza meets Grand Theft Auto meets Dynasty Warriors, but in space. Also pretty cool. Third game, Lando's Wild Ride is essentially Leisure Suit Larry featuring Lando, but in space. That way you're hitting different demographics. You're hitting people who want different things from their Star Wars games. Next, the scopes of these games. Again, we have small things. We have small games and we have big games, right? We have MMOs, we have mobile games, we have multi-platform games. What they need to do is diversify, right? Give us a few mobile games that we can play, that we can enjoy. Sometimes I want to play a Star Wars MMO. Sometimes I want to go and sometimes I want to spend a couple of days playing, SWGOH. Sometimes I want to just build my own experience, right? Sometimes I want to play a Minecraft version of Star Wars, whatever that would look like. Sometimes I just want to play Sabacc against my fellow nerds. I have always wanted to yell at someone, I'm an idiot's array, you're an idiot's array. That'd be really cool. I think there's a lot of really cool options out there if they just change the scope of the games, if they change the different focus. Now next on the list, I think they need to change vantage points, right? Right now, we are either getting light side or dark side. We are getting good guys or bad guys. We are getting the Sith or the Jedi, the First Order or the Republic or whatever, the New Republic, the Rebellion. There's a lot of stuff in between, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi said, many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own points of view, right? If you look at the galaxy as a whole, there's a lot of different concepts out there. Saw Gerrera is a terrorist. That's who he is. He totally undercuts the rebellion's notions of peace, right? But that's the way that he approaches it. Let us play as Saw Gerrera. But I think There's a lot of really cool stuff out there that if we just change the point of view, if we just change a little bit of the way that we're looking at it. If you go back and read the book, Lost Stars by Claudia Gray, phenomenal book. I highly recommend it. But it shows the progression of characters from good, from hands down, we believe that the Empire are the good guys, to no, they're not. Except one person changes and another one doesn't. We kind of see that in Battlefront 2 with Iden Versio's story, but not nearly enough. Not nearly to the point. They didn't develop it as well as they should have, and that's disappointing. The book's a little better, but not by much. Like, really, I don't know. Had they put the book in there as part of the game, it would have made a lot more sense, and it would have fulfilled what I was looking for, because it would have had the espionage, spy stuff, while at the same time, I don't know, violence and betrayal. It would have been really cool in my mind. Next, if you have a game platform that works, don't change it. If you have a platform that is awesome and that your fans love, don't fix it. Let it go. Don't try to improve on what already works. Don't try to fix something that ain't broken. Just push to always have the best. Gamers love a challenge, right? I mean, that's why we do it. We love being able to like build and grow and earn. I mean, I remember when you could go back and you actually had to like fight for achievements. Now you can buy achievements, which is disappointing. Let us earn things. I know that the pay to play is, and the whole loot crate thing is definitely a way that a lot of people go. But I feel strongly that like games, especially console games, especially MMOs, those types of things people will pay for and love. But don't let that be your focus. You've always tried to create good games in the past, not just moneymakers. If you create a good game, it will be a moneymaker, right? People are still buying the old Battlefront 2 because it was phenomenal, because it was great, because it was a good game. Making good games will make you money. If you stick to that, it will be profitable for you. Now, finally, guys, and this is just from my point of view, I absolutely think that this is what Star Wars games need. We need a storyline. Star Wars is an epic. It needs to be an epic. It needs to have different aspects building onto the same component. That's why I love the novels so much. It's because they build up the universe. They build up more than just the Skywalker saga. If you want to move away from the Skywalker saga, fine. Give us characters that we can love. Give us characters that we can identify with. Give us characters that we as players can root for or hate. I mean, it's absolutely imperative that we as players connect to these people, because that's what we as fans did in the first place. We connected to these people. We connected to Luke. We connected to Han. We connected to Leia. Give us someone we can connect to. And then build a story around them. We as fans will come. I as a fan will show up, wall it out. These are just the ideas that I think would work. They would work for me. What would work for you? How can EA, how can Disney, how can the gaming community, game developers change the way they're developing games to benefit the community? And do you think they ever will? I am an optimist, and I think they will. I think there are some games for sure that have been starting down the right path of change. Now, granted, they started down the right path after a pretty big fiasco. But, as I believe it was Star Wars Speculation points out, Disney learns from their mistakes. They're really good at that. It just takes a generation or so. Leave a comment in the section below. Like, subscribe, share. Join us on Discord. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Visit us on Going Nerdy. Check us out wherever we are, guys, because I love the conversation and I love the Star Wars community. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. And as always, my friends, smile and stay nerdy.